For many students, the main hurdle to success in higher education or beyond is financial. That's why last fall, Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology began a financial literacy program in partnership with Brookline Bank. To tell us about the effort are the bank's Senior Vice President and Team Leader, Jane Adler, and the Institute's Associate Director of Student Wellness and Support, Emma Michalowski. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to start with Jane because the bank was in a business relationship with BFIT, but I guess you also had this idea about financial literacy for students. Why did that take place?
Well, so, financial literacy is about having the information necessary to make good decisions about anything, but also particularly for the students about personal finance. And so these are topics that we may take for granted, but things like how to develop a budget, how to open a bank account, things like that students may not have the opportunity to learn about either at home or just anywhere in life. And so because we're a bank, teaching financial literacy sort of comes naturally to us because hopefully we're making good decisions about financial literacy inside the bank every day.
Emma, there are some students in higher education whose parents take care of finances for them with plenty of money to spare, but what about students at BFIT? What are their concerns?
Our students have quite a few financial concerns. We serve a majority of low-income population. So our students are going from possibly never having very much money to even think about retirement or to think about investing to getting these really good jobs. We have an 85% job placement into some pretty high-paying jobs. So these are topics our students want to know about.
Mr. James, there are common pitfalls for people at this stage of their life, I think, when they're just starting to map their way financially. What about, if people might, write a check for too much money or something, what can happen from things like that?
Well, we actually started even kind of before them when we started teaching the students and working with the students, because students may not even know how to choose the right bank, the bank that's right for them, or which checking account is right for them. And one thing we also learned is students didn't know anything about credit scores. They didn't even know there was such a thing as a credit score. And then following on that, well, why does it matter? So we had some very interesting in-depth conversations about that topic in particular, and they were quite interested to learn all of that.
Now, I think of credit scores as mattering when you buy your own car or buy your own house, but it's not just those things.
It matters all the time. It matters about getting credit in the first place or about how much you pay in interest, as two examples.
Good. Coming back to Emma, as far as the students themselves, getting them to pay attention to this and buy into the program, what did you do exactly?
Well, Brookline Bank was really fortunate and kind to offer a prize for our students. So we had a contest, we gamified the process, where students who, whatever class completed the most modules, the mini modules as we call them, which are short informational tidbits that students can complete on their phone. And so whoever completed the most of those, Brookline Bank gave each of them a $100 savings voucher for them to have. In addition, we gave them pizza.
No, I think the maybe the downside of this, and this is not just about BFIT, but I hear about a lot of students at schools around the city here. They start out, and sometimes they drop out of higher education because they are having money problems. Isn't that the case?
Absolutely. BFIT does a lot of work to make sure that we are keeping those students at our school, but nonetheless, it's a problem at every school. It's really unfortunate.
So, Jane, why does a bank want to get involved with the students this way?
Well, I can't take credit that it was my idea, because it was actually the idea of Daryl Fess, the president of Brookline Bank. And Daryl spends a lot of time talking and cultivating an important aspect of culture inside the bank. So he's always very focused on that and wants to encourage everybody who works in the bank to do good in the community. And so this was kind of the perfect opportunity to do that, for not just for a client, but for the students. And hopefully, as time goes on, we hope that some of the things that these students learn, could impact future generations in those families.
Remember, you mentioned investing. It wasn't the sort of thing I was thinking about in my 20s, but what about your students? Did they really think about retirement and pension funds at that age?
No, they don't. And I think that's part of the problem is if you start saving now, it's going to make a huge difference. You're going to get ahead rather than say when you turn 45, you're like, oh no, retirement's coming up in 20 years. I better make up all that money. If you start now, you can start small and things will build up.
Okay. Of course, Jane, there are many people who are very hardworking, very thrifty, and who do not have bank accounts. So aside from the money itself, what is the advantage of having an account, something you can go online and look at and make sure you can keep on top of?
Well, first of all, you can always go online and make sure your money's in your account, right? So that's one reason that it's important. But also we find and found in also the student population, because they don't have bank accounts, they might use things like payday check cashing. Those are insanely expensive, and those are fees that students, they don't have to pay for that. I mean, all you have to do is open a bank account and you can cash your check. Even if you don't want to deposit your check, it could be cashed at the bank. So one of the things that we're trying to help the students understand and learn is what are the benefits of having a bank account as opposed to not having one, as the case may be.
This is BFIT News. We're talking with Jane Adler from Brookline Bank and Emma Michalowski from BFIT. Emma, I imagine also with students here, you're talking about people coming from families, maybe they don't have bank accounts. This is not a norm in the neighborhood. Is that maybe another reason to have a program like this?
Absolutely. So we have a 75% Black and Latino population. And there have been historical issues with banks and people of color that have left them a little weary of these institutions. So some of them don't use banks at all. So part of this is building up that trust and showing them that there are a lot of benefits that you can get from these financial institutions, and they're not here to take your money.
Jane, this is a pilot program that you've at least had so far. What's the next stage, you think?
Well, we think that this is something we'd like to see continue on with Ben Franklin Institute, and additionally, we would like to broaden our reach in terms of teaching financial literacy to other, possibly other. We're involved with a number of nonprofits who do teaching of other, maybe not students, but other people who are in need of this type of education. So we hope to continue to do that as well.
And Emma, what do you see at BFIT with this program?
We're actually working on a really exciting new event. So the first week of April, we're having Financial Literacy Week, where we'll have trivia, we'll have tabling about salary negotiation. We're bringing in businesses like Brookline Bank for Financial Wellness Fair. And our top off of that event is called the Game of Life. It's a budgeting simulation game, and BFIT is going to help counsel our students on budgeting.
We should mention if people want some more information about what you're doing at BFIT, there's a place they can find that online?
Yes, absolutely. You can go to BFIT's website.
And Jane, of course, you've got one for the bank too, right?
Yes, we do.
Right, thank you very much for being with us. Jane Adler and Emma Michalowski.
Thank you.
Up ahead, sports with Pat Flaherty.